All right, guys, what is up? Today we are doing some chest training. This is my first push day of the spring bulk, day number 2 of the bulk. You can see here, I'm just going to kind of step through everything I'm doing bit by bit. It's kind of a training review for me too. These first couple sets here, I think I grabbed maybe the 50s or the 55s here just to do a little warm up. Usually near the front end of my routine, you know, right at the start, I will do 2, sometimes 3 warm-up sets per movement. I'll usually start with like 8 reps, move to something like 4 or 5, and then do 1 or 2 reps right before my working set. I think today I only do 2 here. This next one, I think I jump up to the 70s. Obviously, you know, I'm trying my best to keep the form under control here and really make sure I'm moving the weight with intent. That's something I'm really trying to focus on with every exercise, and that's kind of the cueing that helps, that the warm-ups help with. The warm-ups really help me to kind of get in that mentality. You know, it's easy weight to move around, and it helps when you move up to the higher weight to kind of understand how you need to control it and what movement works best, right? So here, this is going to be my first set with my working weight on my flat bench for the day, which was, I think, the 90s here. And I believe I'll actually pull up my training log from today as well while I'm thinking about it, because I believe I hit 12 on this today. And obviously the hardest part of a flat bench is actually just getting onto the bench. But yeah, you can see here I'm trying to, you know, actively kind of keep a little bit of a pause in the bottom there. Not a crazy big pause, but enough for me to just kind of feel the stretch in the bottom and really slow down the movement and get that momentum out of the movement. And yeah, here it looks like I hit 13 reps, which was on my top set today here. This is a movement that I like to do first, just because it's a heavier movement for the day, but you know, you get a couple warm-up sets in, you can see there's a grindy bit of a rep on that last rep there, but getting that heavy movement out of the way, really getting the chest going on the first movement, and then moving into some more supported, more structured movements, like you'll see, we'll get to an incline press, just a hammer strength incline, and then obviously pec deck for an isolation there. But here is going to be the second set of my flat bench. I think I go for 9 reps here, also with the 90s. Like I said, today is the second day of the push-up phase, of the growth phase, of the bulk, whatever you want to call it. So I'm trying to keep that weight up rather than, you know, dropping down, and just actually trying to keep that straight sets all the way through. This movement felt good. The weight felt really good today. Everything kind of clicked here. Wasn't having any issues with my shoulders. So that was really good, really solid feeling. So I kept the same weight. If I need to on this movement, I'll drop that last set down. I try to keep the first 2 as straight sets and just keep that weight the same. You can see here, third set, going for 7 reps, and wound up, well, I was going for 8, ended up getting 7, which is totally fine. My target range on this movement is 8 to 12. So next week, since my top set was 13, we'll probably move this up to 95s, as long as the weight feels good, right? You know, if it doesn't feel good, if I get under the weight next week and I'm not super confident, things aren't moving great, things just aren't clicking as well like they did today, then I'll just stay with the same weight and try and take a rep progression or a form progression. You can see here, this last rep on this last set was real grindy, but solid rep. So that is that, 13, 9, and then 7. Moving on to a hammer strength incline press. I have a love-hate relationship with this machine. It's a great machine, but it doesn't offer a really customizable resistance profile. So it can feel kind of funky sometimes, and it's a hard machine. Let me put it that way. It's hard. So here, I think I was going for 8 to 12 as well, hit 11, I believe. The weight was the same as last week, but I'm not too beat up about that right now. This is only the second day of increased food for me. So, it takes a little bit of time for that volume to recover and that capability to recover coming out of a diet phase. Specifically push volume. This day, I actually was really excited to record this because this day is one of the days that you lose strength, you lose intensity, you lose the ability to really push yourself on these, chest and shoulder and tricep push days quickest in a deficit in my experience. There's obviously individual variability there, but I can say that generally speaking, most of my clients and obviously myself, this is where I see strength drop off first, pressing and push movements. And so getting it back takes a little bit of time. That second set there that we just did, it was also the same weight as my top set, 200 pounds, which was a weight increase across that set for me, so that felt pretty good to take. And then the third set here, 180, which was just 8 reps. I got 8 reps on the second set as well, so 11, 8, and 8. Third movement, and my final chest movement for the day is my fly, just a pec deck here. These felt pretty good today. You can see kind of near the end of the sets, I kind of start to bend the elbows a little bit more and kind of, I don't want to say throw myself into it, but use a little bit more momentum. Trying to limit that. You can see the start of the set here. It's non-existent basically. We're pretty darn good there. And then right around here, you start to see that elbow bend a little bit and that kind of almost start hugging. And the cue that I always give people on this and try to stick to myself is imagine that you're pressing your bicep into your pec. You're trying not to just touch your hands. The goal on this isn't to touch your hands. The goal is to bring that bicep into the pec and really cause a contraction in the chest. That is what we are looking to do here. And pretty solid top set here. Ended up hitting 16 reps, which is 1 over the goal for my rep range. I will probably stay on the same weight with this next week and end up trying to hit 17 plus reps. Usually when I have a movement that is in the 10 to 15 rep range, basically anything higher than 12 reps, I should say, my goal is to get 2 reps over the high end of the rep range before I increase the weight. So to give an example of that, here my goal is 10 to 15. I hit 16. I'm not going to increase the weight. I would want to hit 17 confidently before I move that weight up. And then here on this back off set, or I shouldn't say back off, it's the same weight. Here on this second set, I hit 12 reps. So pretty solid. That second set and the first set actually were a 1 rep progression each. That feels good. You take reps where you can get them. Moving into the machine lateral here, hit this top set pretty heavy. This is 170 pounds here. It moved pretty good, but it was really limited in terms of my top end of the rep range. My target is 10 to 15, and I hit 12. So I ended up dropping the weight a little bit on the second sets here. That was actually just my warm-up, sorry. The warm-up was a nice easy 8. But this top set here, yeah, you can see it's moving a little slower, about 170. Really trying to focus on this movement, slowing down both ends of the range here, at the top and the bottom, and all the way through. Really just trying to keep this movement controlled. You can see I kind of lean back into the seat a little bit to try and take my lats out of it. It's hard to tell from this angle, but my elbows are actually a little more forward on the pad, and my back is pressed pretty firmly against it. So I'm coming out into that frontal plane a little bit more, not just straight out to my side, to really eliminate the traps from just thrusting the weight up, right? So that top set was 170 for 12. This second set is going to be 140 for 11. This moved a little bit better, but again, as with anything, these push days, the movement, the exertion rather, on these push days is really the first thing to go in a diet and the last thing to recover. So down a little bit on volume, not hitting the top end of my rep ranges across everything today, but really happy with how everything felt. Getting some food back in me, really started feeling the pump again. Really felt solid. This machine, I have, a challenge with this sometimes, finding a position that really works for me. So we're probably going to end up switching this machine out. There's a seated lateral behind it you can't really see, but We'll probably end up substituting that purely because this machine, regardless of if I face this way, which is the correct, quote unquote, correct way to use it, or if I face my face towards the seat pad, the movement just feels a little weird. It doesn't feel like it's positioned very well. So moving on here, the tricep extensions, and I do these with a rope. I like to do them with a rope because they allow me to come out to the side more. It's, you know, an extension, not a push down. Just a little warm-up set here just to kind of get my triceps going. Obviously, they're already a little bit warmed up just because of my pressing movements, but anytime I move to isolation work on a smaller muscle, I like to do just 1-2 little warm-ups for it, even if I've had compound work prior in the session, just to make sure, you know, nothing's going to be really overexerted when I go into my heavier sets, like right here. This is my top set. I end up doing 4 sets on this movement overall. Top set ended up being 85 for 20. This is one of my higher rep range movements. 12 to 20 is the goal. Reason for that, it's a smaller muscle. It responds a little bit better overall to just volume-based work, less intensity, more volume. And so we have more sets and higher rep range. There's no need to go in with your triceps and, you know, crank out 135-pound skull crushers that are going to blow your elbows to bits. Just work smart, you know, work with a movement that you really connect with, and this one does it for me. And work in a rep range that is conducive to growth for the muscle you are actually trying to grow, right? So again, 4 sets of this. We'll just breeze right through this. I actually ended up dropping after my second set because my first top set, I got 20 reps. And then the second set here with 85 pounds, I got only 10 reps. Again, like I've said, coming off of that diet, that volume is one of the last things to recover. And it's really hard to get that up right out of the gate. But we're going to work back up to that. And I think what I'll probably end up doing with this next week is instead of doing 2 top sets with the same weight, I'll do a top set with my peak weight and then drop to my back off weight for the following 3 sets. That back off weight starts here. This is 65 pounds, hit 13 reps here, I believe. And then the final set will be 65 pounds for 10 reps as well. And you can see here, I'm kind of trying to keep my chest up, but you know, you see some people like arch over and almost throw their lats into their tricep extensions. And I'm really trying to avoid that, trying to keep my body as upright as possible and bring those arms, you know, really flared out to the side, really focus on that tricep, not push it down with the shoulder, not throw my back into it. You know, here, these last couple reps are just grinders to try and get some partials in. And, keeping myself upright as possible is really key to really pushing through with the tricep here. My triceps also, just generally speaking, whether I'm in a diet phase or growth phase, fatigue so quickly. That is just a thing personal to me that I've noticed. They fatigue faster than almost any other muscle for me. I could wait 3 minutes between sets. I could wait 30 seconds. It doesn't really matter. They never really recover after I hit them hard for just one good set. So these following sets, you know, they're a lot less in comparison to that first top set of 85 for 20, but they definitely did some extra work. And that's why here you'll see me a little bit lower rep range on my overhead tricep extension here. You might also hear the dog drinking water. Sorry about that. I'm not able to hit a high number of reps on my overhead tricep extension here, even with a relatively low weight. I mean, this is only 30 pounds, and I think I'm hitting like 13 reps on both sets here. You know, that muscle just fatigues so quickly for me, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. The good thing about that is that we know that I can hit it really effectively in just a couple of sets. I don't need a lot to hit my triceps, but we do have a good bit of volume in for the triceps because out of all the parts, you know, the body parts I need to grow, in order of priority, hamstrings, my back in general, and then my triceps. Mostly my posterior chain, you know, my back and hamstrings are kind of equal in priority, but my triceps are up there pretty damn high as well. One more set here of the single arm overhead extensions. This is also going to be a rep match. My top and my back off set were matches here. 30 pounds, 13 reps. So again, not a lot of weight, but when you really get into that stretch in the bottom and, really control that weight, you don't need a lot for small isolated muscles like the tricep, the bicep, even your side delts, rear delts. They don't require a lot of weight, which is again why we also work in those higher rep ranges. I could go in and I could crank out 6 reps of 60, 70 pounds on overhead tricep extensions, but it's not really as effective as just fatiguing that muscle over a higher rep range. And there's benefits to working in all rep ranges, but we also get a lot of higher intensity tricep work from those compounds, that flat bench, that incline bench machine. They kind of work the tricep a pretty heavy bit there, especially that hammer strength incline press. I notice, my triceps tend to fire quite a bit on that. So I kind of try and counteract that a little bit, but just so I'm emphasizing the chest more. But to my original point here, it does really include the triceps a lot. And then rounding out the day, you guys don't see, I do 2 sets of planks, just holding it till failure. And then immediately afterwards, I hop on and do some leg raises here. This is just 2 sets, as many reps as possible. I think I hit 19 or 20 on this top set here. And then on the back off, I think I hit like 12 or something like that. So nothing crazy for abs. I do this twice per week. Usually I do it at the end of my chest session because my day tomorrow is going to be my pull day, so there's nothing really crazy there that it's going to be limited by ab function. It's not a leg day. And then the second day I do it is just prior to a rest day. That's going to be my Saturday, which is a back and shoulders session. So that will round out the training for the day. Super excited to head into this growth phase. Everything's feeling good. I feel great. I still feel tiny, I still feel lean, but the pumps are coming back, the food is moving up, PEDs are slowly moving up. Everything feels really good right now. Everything is moving and grooving in the right direction, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where we end up after the next 20 to 24 weeks or so. I think that's currently the plan. We're going to roll this out for probably a little over 20 weeks, see where we're at, maybe do a little pullback phase for 4 or 5 weeks if needed, and then push right back up. So on that note, guys, I am going to sign off. Take it easy, and I will see you next time.